All right. Hi, everyone. Today is the 12th of Jan, and we are meeting for the CI/CD UX meeting today. It's just me and Nadia in the meeting. Hello from us. uh, okay, so starting with the topic. So for the general topic, we have something from Hannah, which is the review for the OKR progress. So if you have any updates or any sort of item to talk about there, you can go and add to the progress of the OKRs. And then next up is async video updates. And Gina has provided an async update about the work that she's doing for testing and runner in the form of a video. Thanks, Gina, for that. Then we will, okay. Up next is UX research update. The first one is from Release, which is by Will. And he's mentioned here about new research planning issue that he has created for January to April, where he's soliciting ideas for the research needs. And the teams which are contributing to that are Release, Configure, and Monitor teams. And he's working with Kevin to prioritize those requests. Nadia, do you have any comments around that?
No comments yet. I have to go through the planning issue. I'm still catching up from my time off, so I have to get to that, but I'll make sure to comment this week.
Yeah, understandable. All right, and for Erica had given a good kind of summary of what she was working on in our previous meeting, but this is something that I just copied and pasted from Slack because she had posted an update about a research work that she was doing, where like the summary is here in the comment, and the deck is also attached. And since this is already something that was shared before, so I would not like go through the whole thing. But it's just an FYI that this is like the deck is ready and we can have a look at that. It highlights many opportunities for the stage groups in verify and package. All right, up next is an item by Daniel. So Daniel is working on a couple of big things. The first one is big restructuring for the release jobs to be done, for which he has created a video. And he has also requested Katie to drop a comment around this or some feedback around this because they have some sort of overlapping in their efforts. Any feedback there, Nadia?
No, I haven't had a chance to look through anything yet, to be honest. So I will be just leaving comments async on most things.
Sure, then we can just quickly just go through. And one thing that one suggestion that I've left for Daniel is, so when I watched the video for jobs to be done, I was trying to understand like what triggered this restructuring. Like, was it some learning from any recent study, or was it through some feedback on an issue? I was not able to make connections very well, and I would love some information around that. And the next item by Daniel is like another big work that he's doing, which is for group environments page. And I also haven't checked out the video for this yet. I'm so sorry. All right, and the last one is, so it's just an update from Daniel that the two remaining UX scorecard issues, they did not make it to 14.8, and it's just like an update on the progress of the care. Then the next item is by Katie. She has been doing some research work, and the first point here is an update about a solution validation exercise that she was doing around package cleanup. And apart from that, she has also mentioned that in the process and in the learning, she discovered some work that could be done for the settings, which I absolutely agree. Thanks, Gina and Katie, for highlighting that on Slack. Yeah.
Yeah, I wanted to leave a comment here. So Katie and I discussed this particular research in our one-on-one, and we talked about Katie's struggles with recruiting participants, qualified participants on usertesting.com. So many of us probably have had this happen to us in the past, where we create a screener for user testing and we get participants, but they're not exactly qualified for the things that we need to talk to them about. It happened to me in the past many times. And recently, Erica really helped me with making some changes to my screener that allowed me to easily recruit, well, not as easy as in the past. It took me a few days actually to recruit those participants because the screener was much more strict, I would say, but it allowed me to find those qualified participants. So just wanted to say that if you've struggled with this in the past, reach out to Katie to have her look at your screeners, because you might be able to actually get really good participants in user testing. It just requires a bit of wizardry and trickery to actually filter out those people that you don't need.
And I 100% agree with that. So Eric, of course, helped me as well in my previous solution validation that I did with user testing. And like you said, it did take a lot of time. I was very worried because in my previous studies, things used to happen like so fast.
Mm-hmm.
But it took time, and I was so happy to see the results because they were really good participants. They were very relevant people who actually took the test. So thank you so much, Erika, for that if you're listening to this. Next is, so Katie is conducting another problem validation about which she has dropped an update here. And Nadia, you're up next.
Yeah, so I've just finished solution validation for the pipeline simulation MVC. Many of you have provided your feedback on the previous design iteration. So the solution validation went really well. By the way, this is the solution validation study that Erica helped me with. So if you want to have a look at the screener that I used, you can click through to see the insights summary issue, which is the research issue, and there's a user testing link there at the bottom. So you can check out that project and have a look at the screener that I used. So I was able to find really good participants who provided really thorough feedback. And this research generated some really good insights that will help us iterate on the MVC design proposal and also inform the further iterations.
Thank you so much.
You had some comments here.
It's similar to what I had said for Katie's update, which is like Erica added jobs to be done in the screening, like filtering on the basis of jobs to be done, which is very new to me, and I think it really worked. And also, I took a look at the insights that you have posted, and they look very interesting. But I definitely need to go and look at a couple of videos at least, because from your insights, it's very clear that the participants understood, like they had their expectations aligned, but I'm not sure if my expectations, as in my understanding, is aligned. So
yeah,
I want to.
So I can recommend if you want to have a look at the demo. So if you go to the design issue, I think I linked it here in the agenda. Yeah, it's this one. Oh, so I linked the wrong issue. It's not where you find the insights, it's where you find the demo. I'm gonna link the insights issue, but there's a 3-minute prototype walkthrough there, nice. So you can have a look at that.
That's very helpful. Thank you so much for this.
Sure. Okay, so that's that for the pipeline simulation. So now I'm iterating on the designs, and in 14.8, we will be starting the discussions around how we're going to break this down for implementation, and we'll be taking a full milestone to kind of wrap up the design discussions and move it into implementation, because in the past we've been kind of struggling with rushing things too quickly into implementation. So I'm very happy to see that I was able to find the time to take it slow with this feature. So up next, right now I'm gathering feedback on the conceptual object model for jobs. So I don't know if you've seen my update on all of the work that is happening around object modeling and the things that we're working on with Pedro and Tori on creating contribution guidelines for adding objects to pajamas. So we currently already have an object overview page that you can check out to learn more about object modeling, why we're doing it, what are the benefits of creating a conceptual object model. And right now we only have the merge request documented in pajamas, but there's some other objects that are being documented, kind of that are work in progress, and you can find those in a Figma file called Conceptual model. If you look for it on Figma, you'll see it, and there's kind of lots of drafts there already. And if you're interested in contributing to this whole effort, if you want to document an object, check out the epic. Did I link the right thing?
I think you did.
I didn't link the epic. I think
Okay.
I didn't link the epic, but anyway, I will add it here later. But for this particular part of the process, I'm working on documenting a job as an object, and you can comment on the work in progress diagram that I already have by going to this issue thread, or you can also jump into the Figma file if it's easier for you and comment there. Vitika and I were collaborating there today. So because jobs relate to many other objects in CI/CD and many other attributes, there might be some things that you're more knowledgeable about than I am, like environments, deployments, and things like that. So have a look at the diagram that I've created, and let me know if there's anything that you think is missing or anything that doesn't make sense to you. If you look at the issue comment that I linked, you will see some specific questions, kind of the specific feedback that I'm looking for. And there's also a legend there that I added that makes it easier to understand the diagram. And if it's all entirely new to you, then check out the object overview page. And there's a link there to a really good article about object modeling that explains all of the details behind this process. So it will give you the context necessary to understand what we're doing. Yeah, so if you have the time, have a look and provide your feedback. That would be greatly appreciated. And one last thing that I wanted to share is some of the amazing work that our incubation engineers are doing. So we have several incubation group engineers that are like single teams, basically. So one engineer is working on the product strategy, the UX research, the design, the implementation, everything for solving a specific problem. A lot of the work that they're doing is very experimental. They're innovating a lot, and it's really, really inspiring to see, and also very exciting for the pipeline authoring team because they're working on some things that are really aligned with the things that we're working on. So first off, we have Eduardo, who is currently investigating the needs of data scientists when it comes to pipelines. And I knew nothing about it until the point when I started seeing his weekly updates. So every week he records some videos about what he learned and what he's doing next. So apparently data scientists in machine learning use pipelines to do their machine learning things. I'm not even sure exactly what they're doing, but they use this kind of automation to do a bunch of like processing and I don't know, machine learning wizardry. So I'll be meeting with him tomorrow to learn more about this, and I'll record everything to share with you so you can learn more about that. But I think there's going to be lots of interesting things for us, especially on the pipeline authoring team and the pipeline execution team to start thinking about, because a data scientist in CI is an entirely new persona with very different needs because they're usually way less technical. So their use case is quite different. And there can be some interesting overlap there with like, maybe if we make CI easier to use for data scientists, it might also be easier to use for those entirely new to CI, like beginner developers. These are just some of the things that I'm thinking about that might be relevant. So we'll see. If you have any questions around this whole thing, feel free to send them to me so I can ask them on my call with Eduardo tomorrow. And another incubation group engineer, Yanis, he's working on a Yaml Builder. So he actually already created a pretty much fully functional YAML builder that allows you to create your pipeline using a UI. So you can check out a demo of the YAML builder here. I linked the video. It's pretty short and really impressive. And there's already an issue where the pipeline authoring team is discussing how we're going to make it part of the pipeline authoring experience. So there's multiple different ways that we could integrate it. So if you're curious, have a look at the discussion. Feel free to drop your comments if you have any thoughts on that.
This is very interesting. Do you know, Nadia, if this is some sort of, I mean, workflow wise, is this some sort of reverse engineering? Like you start with stating that what is your intention with the project, and based on that, you create the YAML or generate the YAML for that?
Sorry, 1 second. Can you repeat it? It's just someone, like a delivery guy came. I had to.
Okay. All right. So I was saying that looking at this second one, the video that you have added, I mean, I quickly just clicked through different screenshots, and it seems like this flow is about, like, as a user, I'm going to state that this is what my intention is with my project. And based on that, something gets automatically generated in the on the YAML side that you can use, that I can use as a pipeline.
So as far as I understand, it's not generated based on the project yet, but it's generated based on the template. So we currently have, so just a bit of background. Yanis started creating this YAML builder specifically for GitLab pages first. So we have a YAML template for deploying to GitLab pages, and he was focusing specifically on that use case, which was very exciting to me because I always felt like GitLab pages is such a great feature, but it's completely, like, the UX is non-existent. So he created a UI for that. But while he was working on that, he realized that it's actually very easy to make the same experience work for any YAML template. So he kind of made it template agnostic. So currently what happens is you can, so we have these templates based on languages for the most part, like a Node.js template. We have also specific templates to do like this specific job, like deploy to GitLab pages. If you want to use any of these templates with a wizard, you just need to create a separate YAML template that defines a wizard for that template. So, like, if you can imagine two YAML templates together, let's say a pages YAML template and a wizard pages YAML template, together they give you this visual UI experience. So it can be used for any of YAML templates. And I guess the trigger would be for you to select a template or a technology. We can frame it in many different ways. So it's not automatic, but I guess we can frame it this way a little bit, because we can ask you, what do you want to do? You answer deploy to pages, and then we provide you with a wizard for deploying to pages. So it's not really smart, but I guess kind of creates that impression for the end user.
Okay. So we are simulating the smartness.
Yeah, well, we're still very early in this whole process. So we have the wizard that can work for any of the templates, but the implementation is not really there. So I would like for us to simulate the smartness. This is kind of the idea. And this is the direction I think we'll kind of move towards. But the pipeline authoring team is now at a stage where we're trying to better understand what do we want to prioritize? Do we want to integrate this wizard into pipeline authoring onboarding, like when you're just starting with your pipeline? Or do we want to use it, for example, to add extensions to your pipeline? For example, when you already have a pipeline and you want to add a SAS scan, for example. So maybe you would be able to click a button and use a wizard to add your SAS scan.
That's nice. That sounds really good. I hope this, I mean, if this whole experience is integrated with the pipeline authoring experience, that would be really something.
Yeah, very excited about it.
Nice. And for an update on your previous topic, so I have dropped a comment on the, I dropped comments in the morning on the Figma file for the object model, but apart from that, I've also posted an update on the issue because it occurred to me that I totally forgot about the sources for pipelines. I mean, they're also important, like what's triggering, what's the source that triggering the pipeline. But I don't think sources apply to jobs very directly, just the pipelines. So it would only be for one side, I guess, for the pipelines, that is.
Yeah, maybe it's, yeah, but we can add it to the pipeline because now I'm looking at the diagram and the pipeline doesn't have source. So that's a really good point. We should add that in.
All right. Okay. Anything else, or can I move to my points?
That's all on my end.
Great. Thank you so much. All right. So one update from my side is about the auto-merge solution validation research that I was conducting in the previous week, again, using user testing and with Erica's help. And that worked really well. And we received a lot of really good insights that is going to help us frame our path forward. So what the intention that we had with this research was, so the problem was that the labels that we're presenting to our users to communicate our merge strategies and options selected for that particular project that they're using, when they are going to merge their changes, it's very lengthy, and they also do not comply, the label text, they do not comply with the NN groups for value for better link labels, which is like they're not succinct, they're not simple. I'm forgetting the other two. So we wanted to make it like really simplify it to just auto merge. Like instead of writing those lengthy statements such as start merge train when pipeline succeeds, why not just give this option to set auto merge? And we want to see like how users react to this. But while I was working on those designs, I discovered that it's not that users only want auto merge at the stage when they're merging, but in fact, they would really love to have this option set right at the beginning of the process, which is when they are creating the merge request. So let's say if it's a very simple change and I'm creating a merge request and I know that there's hardly going to be any complication, maybe it's just a typo or I'm just adding an image. So no critical pipelines to run for that. So why not just set auto merge at that stage so that it wouldn't need any manual interventions again and again to get merged. But when we took those two prototypes to users, one was for specifically the merge widget, the other one was for the new MR creation page, we sensed that they were definitely so much more confident about like using that feature when it comes to the widget, because the new widget design that the code review team has worked on, or the create team, it's very clear, it's very succinct. It clearly states like what's the progress of the merging process and what are the checks that have to run, what are the checks that have run already, and where is it that you're at. So that kind of information and the illustrated progress report that users are getting, it really boosts their confidence to use an automatic feature there. And that's really required. So one very recurring question when participants were looking at the new pipeline, new merge request creation page and this label auto merge there was that I haven't even started the pipeline. I don't even know how it's going to go. How can I just set it on auto merge? So they lack the confidence there. And that clearly shows that we have some work to do there. Maybe some capabilities that we would be able to predict, like how the merge process is going to go. So we should be looking at adding that particular workflow much later. And our instant goal should be to replace the lengthy labels on the widgets with set auto merge, and maybe make small little changes to the widget design to make it even more clear to our users about where they are at. So that was a brief summary about this whole thing. And another point that I have to share is, like, while working on many different new issues which are related to providing a better visibility to CI minutes to our users, and also like hardening the CI minutes limit for free and public users that we are working on. So we are envisioning many different use cases there. We are doing a lot of investigation in the process. And since I have like a truckload of information about CI minutes, I thought why not just record a video so that there would be something that the team members as well as I myself can refer back to if we later have to revisit any of the concepts related to CI minutes, cost factors, etc. So I want to know that when you as a member of, as a designer for the verify stage groups or package or release, when you hear these words like cost factors, CI minutes, quotas, what are the questions that come to your mind? And I would soon be opening an issue around this, but if you are able to think of any questions, please let me know about that so I can include that when I create a video.
Yeah, I added a question. What is a cost factor?
Okay, I can answer this one quickly and also include this for later. Cost factor is the, so let's say you are a free user today and you have a Linux-based runner for your project. So the cost factor that will apply to you is going to be, I guess, 1. That means it's the rate of consumption of the allotted CI minutes. But if you're using another Mac runner in your project as well, that's going to exhaust your CI minutes at a faster rate. That means it will have a higher cost factor. So cost factor is that rate of exhaustion of CI minutes that we add to those runners.
So it's like on a sliding scale depending on your setup, basically?
Not on my setup exactly, but the runner that I'm using for my project.
Yeah,
so cost factors are always associated with runners.
Okay, makes sense.
And lastly, we have an item by Gina, which is the first point is around work that she's doing to introduce bulk deletion for the runner fleet management, if I'm not wrong. So she has linked the designs here, and the feedback that she's looking for is on how the bulk selection works with pagination as well as confirmation messages. I've dropped a small comment, which I can show once I read through all the items. And next is Darren has come up with this opportunity to meet with customers for Gina who are managing fleets. So they're very interested in giving their feedback to for the designs, and they're discussing the plan for starting office hours with customers. So office hours, I think, is a point that was brought up by Jackie in the upcoming quarters plans. So I think most of our teams are going to be following this in the upcoming quarter, and that would be very exciting. And lastly, for testing, she's consolidating all the testing research in one place with Erica's new research synthesis project. And this should help identify gaps that we don't have documented yet specifically for artifacts.
I think the idea of office hours is really interesting, probably because I'm not caught up on everything yet. I don't know about the next quarter plans, but I was wondering if you had a link to that somewhere where I can read more about it.
Sure, let me quickly find that. My to-do. Okay, I'll need some time to go look for that, but I'll definitely send it to you on the Slack channel, on UX/CI/CD Slack channel. In the meantime, so I was looking at the bulk deletion of runners in the table, and one feedback that I've left for Gina is, I'll quickly share my screen. Okay, I think we are over time, so I'll be very quick. So one thing that I noticed in this design was there was an option to select on and deselect all. So what I figure is if you are providing a selection option on at the level of the header, then we don't really have to give these options. They're kind of implied that when you are clicking, when you're selecting and unselecting from the top, you are automatically selecting and deselecting all the items in one go. So something that I was interested in was like what would be the flow when I'm moving from, let's say, a partial selection to complete deselection. And when I say that, what I mean is, so let's assume that I'm clicking on 3 of these. So this will get a partial selection status, right? Like that minus symbol in the middle of the checkbox. So how do I go from that to deselect? Would it be like, first I will click, when I click on this first after partial, it will select all, and then when I click again, it will deselect all? So that was just one small feedback I have, or rather a question.
Yeah, I would expect that to work this way, that it will select all and then it deselects all. At least that's been my experience with most apps that have this. So I don't know if
Mine
it's the
too.
best way, but it's the way that I'm used to.
It's the known way.
Yeah, it's the known way. I will have a look at this, Gina, and get back to you. I'm trying to now kind of bulk schedule all feedback requests for Fridays. Vitika gave me an idea for this a couple months ago. So you will hear back from me on that on Friday.
All right, then with that, we are through with all the items, and we are also over both, like across the time. All right. Bye, Nadia. Have a good day ahead.
You too. Bye-bye.